Dear Thầy, dear brothers, dear sisters, and dear friends, welcome to Lower Hamlet for the Mindfulness Day. Today, the last Mindfulness Day happened in Lower Hamlet during this winter retreat. And today the weather is very beautiful, so we enjoy the Mindfulness Day together beautifully and happily. And today is 15 January, the year 2017. We are in the Stars Assembly Star Meditation Hall, Dharma Temple, Lower Hamlet. Before the winter retreat start, the senior Dharma teachers sat down together to see what we will share, for this winter retreat. And I was the youngest sister in that group. And the meeting happened very beautifully and very joyful. And because I was the youngest sister in that group, so I wanted to be there to learn the experience from the older brothers and sisters. So we discussed, and then we decided that this winter we would learn about the Eightfold Path that you already heard and learned before. And the older sisters and brothers, they chose what topic they would like to share and what day they would like to share. And I wanted to excuse myself not to give the talk because I see that I'm still young in the practice. And they had a lot of experience, so it is why they choose the topic they want. And there was the last one, and nobody take care of it. So the older brothers and sisters asked me to do it. And at the beginning, I'm so scared. And they do everything they feel comfortable. And last one is livelihood. And I saw that it's so difficult for me to share, but nobody chose it. And because I didn't choose that, so it is why I have to put my name on that. So the meeting happened very joyful, very beautifully, but at the end I feel so tense. But luckily, Sister Nghiêm is very compassionate, and she changed for me. At the beginning, nobody wanted to change, but later on, Sister Nghiêm is very kind and very compassionate. And so it is why she changed for me, and she shared about the livelihood, and I share about the mindfulness. So it is the reason why I am here today to share with you about the mindfulness. I want to apologize about my English. My English is not good, but my older brother and sister encouraged me to share in English, so it is why I follow their guidance to share in English. So if I made some mistakes, maybe many mistakes, please forgive me. So today I will share about the mindfulness. And before I share about mindfulness, I would like to review that some aspects of the Eightfold Path that we have learned from the beginning of the winter retreat until here. So for those who knew, for those who just arrived this week or last week, so we know what it is. So I would like to write on the board. So this winter we learned about the Eightfold Path, and the first part of the Eightfold Path is the right view. And the second one, right thinking. And the third one, right speech. And the fourth one is right action. And the fifth one, right livelihood. And the sixth is right religion. And the seventh one is right mindfulness. And the eighth one we will learn next week. And as we know before, this element is they interact. If we learn one more thing, so we will understand other thing. And as the Dharma talk that Sister Hội Nghiêm gave, she said that even we say Eightfold Path, but mindfulness is like the entrance to go to this Eightfold Path. So we will learn more about mindfulness, about what is here, and right view, right thinking, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right religion, and right mindfulness. So they interact with each other. So when we develop one, so we will develop others. And mindfulness is the heart of the meditation. We cannot meditate without mindfulness. Mindfulness is the heart of the meditation. So what is the mindfulness? Mindfulness is to remember. To remember that we had the body. We are lucky that we had the body still in the good condition. We can still walk. We had the eyes, bright eyes to look at each other. We had our heart in the good condition, still beating. Sometimes we're nervous, it's beat so fast, but it's okay. We still had the good stomach to digest food. So our organs still work well. So we have to remember to nourish our joy and happiness. Somebody, they cannot accept their body. When I was young, sometimes I was not happy with my body. I asked my mom, why you gave me a bird with a short? Why you gave me a bird with the flat nose? with not beautiful hair. So many reasons I questioned with my mom, and I cannot accept my body. But when I learned about the mindfulness, I had the capacity to accept my body as I am. Even short, but still happy. Even with the flat nose, but it's okay. We're still happy because we have many elements, many conditions to be happy. So we have to remember that. We have to remember we had the body. We have to remember that we had the home, the house to live in. Many people, they don't have the house to live in. So just remember, bring us a lot of joy and happiness. Even we share the same room with many people, 4 people, 5 people in the room, very close to each other. Our bed, too close, very close to each other, but it's okay. We still have the roof to stay. When you come here to stay with us, to share the room with each other, many people in the same room. Some of you share the room with 4, 5, or 6 or 7 or even 10 people. But if you remember that you had the house, the room to stay, it's already made you happy. So when you remember like that, so the suffering and difficulty slowly come down. We remember the moment that we was in danger in the past. And now we feel we are lucky. We stay here, sit here with the collective energy of the Sangha, very safe, very peaceful. And we are very happy. Remember some moment, some difficult moment in the past that we have to struggle with it. We had to deal with it. Very difficult. And now we overcome the suffering and difficulty, and we sit here. So we're happy. Even our mind still occupied by something, like by thinking, occupied by great ordination. Then the brother and sister go to Thailand or not, but still we sit here with the Fourfold Sangha in very peaceful atmosphere. So just remember like that, we are already happy. It is a characteristic of the mindfulness. Mindfulness is to remember. Sometimes we forget it, so it's why we drown in the suffering and difficulty. And now we bring our awareness up and to remember that the happy conditions we have in order that we nourish our mind, nourish our body. Today I also review again what we have learned in order that we can remember again and again and again to nourish ourselves. I don't share anything new. Just whatever we have already learned, what we have already practiced, but remind each other. Sometimes we remember, but we don't want to practice. It is also a point. How can we practice when we remember things? We will learn more later. But just remember, it's already bring us a lot of happiness and joy. And the second characteristic of the mindfulness is to be aware of what is going on our body, on our feeling, on our mind. What happened inside of us and around us. So we have to aware what is going on in order that we take good care of our body, our feeling, and our mind. If we are not aware of, we cannot take good care of our body and our mind. So when we talk about the mindfulness, we have to mention about the sutra on the 4 establishments of mindfulness. I like this sutra very much because the word of the sutra is very beautiful. In the sutra, right at the beginning, it says that this sutra, this is the most beautiful part to help all living beings realize purification, overcome grief and sorrow, end pain and anxiety, travel the right path, and realize nirvana. The word is very attractive and very appealing. And when I read this sutra and I see that I have to put them into the practice, and I have to realize the purification, I have to end pain and sorrow, I have to travel on the right and beautiful path and realize nirvana. So it is why I stick with this sutra. So now I just want to share with you about this kind of the practice. So the first establishment of mindfulness is contemplating the body in the body. Or observing the body in the body. How can we observe our body in our body? When breathing in, we are aware that we are breathing in. When we're breathing out, we are aware that we are breathing out. To follow our in-breath and follow our breath. Aware of our breathing, and then we calm our breathing, relax our breathing. Maybe at the beginning our breath is not so relaxed, our breath is not so peaceful, our breath is not so gentle. But if we sit down and we follow our breathing slowly, our breathing will calm down. And our breathing become more peaceful, more relaxed, more at ease. So we have to follow our breathing. We feel the air go through in our body and go out of our body. And at the beginning, we feel the air go to our body at the chest level, but slowly, when we follow our breathing, so our breathing will go deep down in our belly. We don't need to make our breathing short or long. We just breathe naturally, but day by day, slowly, our breath become slow. Our breath become deep. And for those who practice this already, we will experience more. We see that the breathing is not only go through our nose to our lungs, but the breathing can go through every sweat pore in our body, in our face, in our hand, in our chest, in our whole body. And the air go deeper into our bone, into our marrow, into our blood. Because in our body, there are many cells, and each cell also breathes. So we have to let our cell breathe. We not only breathe with our nose, but we breathe with our whole body. And if we breathe like that, we will relax our body. We relax our breathing and we relax our body. In the sitting exercise of mindful breathing, we also learn about the sitting exercise, a practice to help us to take refuge in, to help us to go back to ourselves, to take care of our mind and our body. So the first exercise is aware of the breathing. For example, breathing in a short breath, we are aware that we are breathing in a short breath. Breathing out a short breath, we are aware that we are breathing out a short breath. Breathing in a long breath, we are aware that we are breathing in a long breath. And breathing out a long breath, we are aware that we are breathing out a long breath. But when we hear breathing in a short breath, with breathing in a long breath, it doesn't mean that you make your breath become short or long. Just recognize your breath. If it's short, you recognize that it's short. If it's long, you recognize that it is long. Just recognize that it's it. So the second exercise of breathing is just aware of your breathing. And when you are aware of your breathing, you will relax or calm your breathing. So the second is calming. When you breathe, you can calm your breath down. And the same method, we are aware of our whole body. Aware of our eyes, our nose, our shoulders, our legs, and relax our whole body. Calming body or relaxing our body. When we walk, we know that we are walking. When we sit down, we are aware that we are sitting down. So any position of the body happen to be, we are aware of that position of the body. When we eat, we are aware that we are eating. When we put on the robe, we are aware that we are putting on the robe. When we put the hand here, we are aware that we are put the hand on the chest. When we put the hand on the lap, we are aware that we are putting our hand on the lap. So in any positions of the body happen to be, we are aware of that position. When we cut vegetable, we are aware of the movement of our hand. And we are aware of our face in order that we can release all the tension in our face. We are aware of our shoulders in order that we can relax our shoulders, drop all the tension down to the floor, to the earth, and loose all the muscles on our shoulders. And the same, we are aware of our heart, our chest, because sometimes when we suffer, we make our chest and our heart become stiff. So we are aware of that in order that we can release all the tension accumulate on the heart and on the chest. Or aware of our stomach. Sometimes we worry too much. We make our stomach ache. So aware of that in order that we can give it a massage, release the tension in the stomach. So we are aware of the whole body. At the beginning, we are aware of our movement of the body. And slowly, slowly, when we are aware our movement, the body well ready, we can aware more about the organs in our body in order that we can take good care of the organs in our body. And we can combine the breathing with the body. At the beginning, we don't know how to combine. For example, when we follow our breathing, we forget our body. And when we pay attention to our body, maybe we forget our breathing. But don't worry. If you pay attention on the body, it's already mindfulness. If you are aware of your breathing, it's already mindfulness. But the breathing is help us to connect our mind and our body easily. Sometimes we sit here, but our mind is somewhere else. Maybe our mind is on the meeting, our mind is on our plane, our mind is in US, our mind is in Thailand, or in Vietnam, or England. So the breathing is like the bridge for the mind go back to the body. So wherever the mind go, we just remember of mindful breathing. It's like the bridge, bring the mind back to the body. And you practice for a while, you are mindful. You are mindful what you are doing. You are mindful what you are thinking. You are mindful what you are speaking. And slowly, slowly, you can combine naturally breathing with the action. You can talk at the same time aware of your breathing. You can listen at the same time you follow breathing. You can do the work at the same time you follow the breathing. So if you cannot combine, if you cannot do two things at the same time, it's fine, no problem. Huh? But day by day, with the practice, you can do it well. But when you have the capacity to combine, you can master yourself better. So it is why in the 16th exercise of the breathing, the third and the fourth exercise, breathing in, we are aware of our whole body. Breathing out, we are aware of our whole body. Breathing in, we calm our body. Breathing out, we calm our body. Or breathing in, we relax our body. Breathing out, we relax our body. And when we are aware of our body, we make our body happy. Like we want to do exercise, we want to take a walk, we want to do yoga to make our body happy. So with the awareness will bring us joy and happiness. And if we can understand and practice the first element of the establishments, the first establishments, so we will practice well the second establishments of mindfulness. It's about the feeling. we contemplate the feeling in the feeling. When we had the pleasant feeling, we are aware that we had the pleasant feeling. When we had the unpleasant feeling, we are aware that we had the unpleasant feeling. We had the neutral feeling. We are aware that we are having the neutral feeling. We recognize ourselves as it is. And when we recognize our feeling, we can calm down our feeling. We can calm down our emotion. So the same technique with the breathing, the same technique with the body, we do it with the feeling. Aware of our feeling and calm down our feeling. When we suffer, we are aware that we are suffering. And when we are aware that we are suffering, we know how to take good care of our suffering. So please don't ignore our suffering and difficulty. Don't be afraid about our suffering and difficulty, because we had a method to practice to transform our suffering and difficulty. Now, if you are having the neutral feeling, aware that you are had the neutral feeling. If you had the pleasant feeling, aware that you had the pleasant feeling. If you had the unpleasant feeling, aware that you are having unpleasant feeling. You are aware of your feeling and embrace your feeling with the mindful breathing. And then we calm down our feeling. So aware of feeling. And calming feeling. Sometimes some people suffer too much. And when we go back to our feeling, to embrace our feeling, and we become overwhelmed by that feeling. We are overwhelmed by the suffering and difficulty. So before we embrace the feeling, the suffering, the unpleasant feeling, we create or generate joy and happiness. So it is why on the establishment feeling, in the feeling, we are encouraged to practice, generate joy and happiness first. So the same in the 16 exercise, we also say that feeling joy, I breathe in. Feeling joy, I breathe out. Feeling happy, I breathe in. Feeling happy, I breathe out. So the first exercise of the feeling in the feeling is feeling joy. And the second is feeling happy. Before we do the third and the fourth. Like when you have the disease, when you had the problem with your body, and you went to the doctor or went to the hospital, for example, just for example, right? You had the tumor. And the doctor said that you have to operate. And if your body weak, the doctor will not operate right away. They have to help you the way to take good care of your body first by eating or by doing something that make your body healthy, make your body strong before they can operate the tumor. I just imagine, I hope that all of us have no tumor, but just example. So it is the same with the feeling. When we suffer too much, that we cannot embrace the suffering and difficulty, so we have to create joy and happiness first. In order that we are strong enough to take care of suffering and difficulty. If not, we are overwhelmed by suffering and difficulty. So we have to understand our state of the feeling in order that we can take good care of our feeling. Some people question, how can I create joy and happiness while I suffer too much? And when I suffer, I don't want to create joy and happiness. I don't care anything. Is that true? Yes. Sometimes or many times. When we suffer, we don't want to do anything. But how? How can we overcome this? How can we overcome our suffering and difficulty? When our body is sick, especially when we sick seriously, badly, we have to take the medicine, right? Even sometimes we don't want to take the medicine, especially the monastic brother and sister. We don't want to take medicine. We wait until we get sick badly or seriously, so we take the medicine. But at that moment, we are aware that we know that we have to take medicine in order that we overcome the disease, overcome the sickness. It is also the kind of medicine to take care of our feeling. We don't want to, but we have to. We have to create joy and happiness in order that we can overcome the suffering and difficulty. So it is the kind of medicine help us to overcome the mental sickness. Even sometimes we don't want to, but we have to do it. And we have to remember. Mindfulness is to remember. We have to remember that it is a kind of medicine that we have to take it in. So we stand up, do something. Maybe at the beginning we don't want to do, but we are aware that it is good for our body. It is good for our feeling. And slowly, our body become better and better and better. And slowly we feel joyful and happy. So we have to remember what kind of joy and happiness nourishes you every day. And you have to do it. Don't wait until you fall down into the despair or into the suffering and difficulty to create joy and happiness. In your daily life, what makes you joy, what makes you happy, do it. And do it more often, and it will create the good habit energy. For example, arranging flower make you happy, do it. And when you arrange the beautiful flower, you feel fresh and happy. If you want to take a walk outside in the nature, please take a walk. The nature will nourish you. Maybe at that moment you don't like to do, but aware that it is good for my body and mind. And you stand up and take a walk outside the nature. And when you take a walk outside the nature nourishes yourself. I don't like the breakfast. But go to prefer is my practice. Because the prefer is always with muesli, bread, and the same almost every day. And even we don't go to the table yet, but we know already what is on the table. And for me, I don't like it. But I think that the prefer is good for my brain. Eating prefer is good for our brain. So I remember that the breakfast is good for my brain. So I stand up to go to the breakfast and enjoy the breakfast. And when I aware that I nourish my brain, it's good for my brain, and my body become happy. And when my body become happy, my mind also become happy. So just remember, and eating is the kind of medicine. At the beginning, I don't want to go to breakfast. Is it the same? I know it is already on the table. Muesli, bread, and jam, something like that. But aware that it's good for my brain, I go there happily and joyfully and enjoy the breakfast. And I know that my whole body happy. So with awareness, bring you a lot of joy and happiness. So the moment that you don't want to do, the moment that you don't want to create joy and happiness, you have to remember that it is a kind of medicine. That is not because we want to ignore the suffering and difficulty. No. When we suffer, we have to aware that we are suffering. We cannot transform our suffering and difficulty when we don't understand our suffering and difficulty. We only can transform our suffering and difficulty when we understand our suffering and difficulty. And if we ignore it, how can we understand? We have to go back to embrace it, to understand it. But sometimes we're weak. We are overwhelmed by that. We have to nourish our body and our mind with joy and happiness. And when we do it well with the feeling, we know how to take care of our mind. And so please don't ignore it. Whatever happened in our body, we recognize it. If we feel that we are overwhelmed by suffering and difficulty, by the emotion, strong emotion, go back to take care of joy and happiness. Go back to take care of our breathing. Go back to take care of our body. And when we feel we're strong, we go back to take care of our emotion. Sometimes we have the strong emotion that we cannot embrace it. We feel that it's so strong. So just sit down and enjoy the breathing. And when we sit down and enjoy breathing, we are aware that it's going to be okay. And for a moment, with following breathing, you feel much better. You calm down your emotion. The example that they used to give us is like the tree in the storm. When the storm happens, we see on the top of the tree is moving, shaky. And we become worried. We become worried that it will fall down. But when we look down at the trunk, at the root, we see that it's very solid. And we no more worry. So it is the same when we had the strong emotion. At the beginning, we scared. But we know that if we take the deep breath, like we go back to our trunk of the tree, we feel that we are okay. We will save. We will be safe. and everything will go over. Especially when we have fell down in the despair, fell down in the some bad situation, some tremendous suffering and difficulty. And we're so scared that we fell down again in that situation. And we run away from the suffering and difficulty because we are too scared of that. But if we run away from our suffering and difficulty, we cannot overcome suffering and difficulty. We have to go back. With this kind of method, we can master our emotion, our breathing. And we calm down ourselves. And when we calm down ourselves, we feel much better. And when we feel much better, we feel joy and happy. We feel joyful and happy. Don't wait until we transform totally to be happy and joyful. Right moment that you can master yourself, you feel joyful and happy already. We feel happy because we don't drown in the despair, in the suffering. And the same, that kind of method, we know how to master our mind. So the third establishment of mindfulness is contemplating or observing our mind in the mind.